go. I'm still not used to that woman saying this meeting's being recorded, and I sound crazy because nobody else can hear it. But either way,
Nope.
welcome to
I
another
heard it.
episode.
And you look
Did
crazy.
turn that for a second? My
When I
goodness.
heard this last time, Michael, it's a
I
law
know.
now.
All right, you know what, Chris? Shut up. Welcome to another episode of Under the Sun Sports. The boys here just had our fantasy football draft, 12-team PPR league, the one we do every single year. We're super excited about it, and basically the point of this show is going to be we're going to be recapping our draft, seeing how everybody did, talking about our teams, kind of giving a little bit of thoughts on the players and where we selected them, maybe doing a couple other things. But we are joined today by the usual suspects, Mr. Pat and Mr. Chris, both Under the Sun Sports staples, you could say, and a couple of friends joining us here, as you can see. To Chris's right, kind of looks like the left, is Kieran, and to his left is our friend Ken. And they're going to be our guests today, also members of the league in which we all share in. Guys, how are we feeling?
I actually haven't felt this good about a draft, I think, ever. I feel good.
Positivity.
Yeah, it's a weird thing coming out of like fantasy football draft because everyone feels real good about their team like for the first like 24 hours, and then like someone gets hurt the next day, and then someone gets traded, and everyone hates their team in like, you know, a couple days later.
Wait for an injury or two, and then we'll all be like this.
We'll all enjoy it for now.
I want to enjoy this bubble
as well.
I did until.
I feel like everybody's feeling pretty happy.
Kieran liked his team until Pat crushed his dreams.
What did he do?
All right, let's start with Kieran's team.
Pat said his team sucks.
I want to say everybody's happy except for my brother. I took two quarterbacks. He was planning on taking the second one. He literally left my home without talking to me. So, you know.
See, with Kieran's team, I feel like we got to jump right into it because it's like
let's start with Kieran's team. Yeah, we'll go one by one, I guess.
Kieran, go ahead.
Old and half like.
Does anyone have it up and can share the screen? I don't have the rosters.
No. I could be able to do that. Give me just 1 second. Kieran, do you have your roster there real quick before I can grab it? Or if not, that's okay. I can grab it if you just give me 1 second.
Yeah, Kieran, walk us through like a 2-minute synopsis of your draft strategy, if you had a strategy, or who you were really targeting, how it ended up.
I was trying to go running back heavy. I mean, it's a pretty safe strategy. And I knew if I had Mahomes in the fourth, where I was at drafting, I was going to take him, sort of regardless of where I stood. Just because I know you could get a good quarterback in round 14, but
that's not true.
You can. I'm pretty sure Trevor Lawrence is going to put on this year.
There was a bit of a drop off for me, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think round 4 Mahomes, and then Jonathan Taylor. I was really up in the air between him and Austin Eckler, especially PPR, but I took Taylor instead in the first.
Yeah, I was telling Mike that I was looking at Eckler even at like the 7th spot if Zeke didn't fall. I was debating him.
I would have taken Eckler as well.
Honestly, I just feel like Eckler
Taylor's
always
good,
has he always gets injured.
Yeah.
And there's such a run-heavy offense because their quarterback is probably going to get injured or be trash.
Who's that, the Chargers or
Colts?
The Colts.
Colts, yeah. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, you know, he'll get his looks.
Yeah, so I'm
not going to lose your league.
It's not a bad pick. I'm just saying between the two, I would have leaned Eckler myself.
I
think so. My only concern is that Taylor's stock kind of rose last year when they're talking about him playing like these like kind of garbage teams, and he like tore them up, obviously, and that's kind of like what we're riding on Jonathan Taylor with. Like he could be sick, like there's no doubt about that. But
to play devil's advocate, though, I could say like, well, he wasn't playing good teams, so you can only judge him on who he played. So
yeah,
right.
Again, I would have taken Eckler still.
I think there's a notable drop off in just Chargers talent too outside of Justin Herbert. So I think you're going to throw the ball out more, and he's a great receiving back, which is obviously big upside in PPR sub Jackson. But I went with Taylor. I'm going to stick by it. DeAndre Swift, he was my other running back. What did I get him? 4th or 3rd round, right before Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'd be 3rd.
Yeah, because we were talking about how much we hated him, and then you took him.
Yeah, because he's I think the best player on a bad team, which is, you know, it's why Christian McCaffrey is a great fantasy player. Obviously, different levels of greatness, but you know, I think DeAndre Swift's gonna have a decent year. Robbie Anderson, I think was a pretty good value.
I like Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
He balled out last year.
I like Chase
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, I thought was sitting where he was, getting him like around 7-8. I take that. Brandon Cooks on the bench, I think, is actually going to have a much better year than people are giving credit for.
Kieran, how would you grade your draft? Like initial reaction, A through F. What are you giving yourself?
I'll give myself a B, not a B+.
Should we all grade each other's drafts?
Yeah, let's go around. Chris, what do you give Kieran?
He's so indecisive. We always pick him second. My goodness.
Yeah, we got to go with him last.
I'm just kidding.
It's a C. Like I don't dislike his team. He just needs a lot of guys to have upside years, which is why I give him a C.
I'm going to echo what Chris said. I kind of agree. Like he kind of said, Swift is the best player on a bad team. Like that's true. He's talented, but like he kind of worries me a little bit. Chase, they've had nothing positive to say about him out of camp. So I was like, he's got a lot of potential and the connection with Burrow. I'm not denying that. But again, I think Chris is right where there's like this could turn into like a really
he could win the league with this, but it's just
I know, especially with Mahomes, you can never go like you're gonna contend. I'm just saying like you need some things to go right. I feel like
he has Mahomes and Diggs are the two studs, and the rest it's like they have.
I'm basing it off of last year having a run-heavy offense, Derrick Henry running back, having Devontae Adams, and then having Justin Jefferson ball out when no one thought he was going to ball out.
Scroll down for a second, Mike. So
sure.
I'll give him a B-. Like I was saying, I like.
All right, hold on, give me 1 sec. I'm loading up there.
I remember it. I love half of Kieran's team, and the other half I think are more reaches. I think values you got, like Brandon Cooks is going to be a good value. Like he's just so underrated. I think he'll be in your starting lineup probably week 1. And
that's nice to be on the bench too. Yeah.
Yeah, and as much as we want to like stay away from Deshaun Watson, like as far as we know, he's suiting up. He's padded in practice. So Brandon Cooks is his number 1 receiver still. And then Mahomes, Diggs, that's just a great stack of just great value, solid points. I think Jamar Chase is going to struggle a little bit this year because, well, 1, they're saying he's having a terrible camp, but 2, there's just a lot of mouths to feed there. And
I did read they said that he's looked like himself the past week, but your other argument was I was going to say though there are a lot of mouths to feed there. So
yeah, I mean just with Sutton and or no, not Sutton. Sorry, with Higgins, and Boyd. Yeah, Boyd had a great year last year, but I'll give it B-.
All right.
All right. So on to the next one.
Let's go over and we'll see who we get here when we draw the schedule. Let's do Ken next because he's also a guest as well. We'll analyze you.
Welcome to the show.
Pat, me and you are going against each other the first round.
Yeah, I wonder who it says is going to win.
You.
So now we know how Ken feels about it, Steve.
All right, Ken, you're loading here in just a second.
I mean, it's just projections. I'm not.
Yeah.
Projections are projections.
I also draft on some upside. So.
All right, Ken. So can you see your team up here?
Yep. So I
go ahead. Walk us through what you did.
Aaron Jones first. I really wanted Najee Harris because I think he's going to be a stud. So I took him in the second round. Went a little bit. When I got my wide outs, I knew Evans and Jones were probably second option wide receivers, but I think Julio with a different location could have a good year. So I think he might have a breakout year. Goddard apparently Hurts is throwing a lot of tight ends. I think Goddard might have a good year. I think Herbert's going to have a very good year. So that was my upside. Everything else, who do I got? Got Connor as a backup to Edmonds.
You took my boy Rager, who I wanted.
Yeah, got Rager. And then
50, baby.
I think Sutton's going to be a good wide receiver 3, hopefully. But yeah, that's kind of it.
And I like your running back stack is great right there. That Jones, Harris.
Yeah.
I think Harris
probably the best in the league.
I think Harris can explode this year. So you're up there with those running back pairs.
You gotta get anytime the Steelers take a chunky running back, take them.
Yeah, I mean they make a lot of bad players good. Like James Conner's not that great of a running back, and he was a fantasy stud in that offense. Najee Harris is way better than him. So
yes, the receivers. I feel like maybe a few years ago this would have been the best tandem you could possibly have, but still not bad. I think what you were saying about Julio going to a new location, I think the new location kind of might hurt him a little bit. he's on a run heavier offense, and he's the second fiddle to AJ Brown. I think, as opposed to you saying it might have been better, I think it might hurt a little bit. So I'm still not denying that he's amazing. I literally thought about taking him where he was.
Well, Mike, with you saying that, you should start. What's your rating?
What's my rating? I like the upside with Herbert. I'm just kind of going through it here. Goddard maybe wouldn't be my pick. I know I like what you were saying, and we were talking about the throwing to the tight ends and stuff like that. So I think he's all right. Edmonds, I think, has got a lot of potential to catch some balls out there. The bench, not bad. I think there's some upside with some of these guys like Sutton. Ruggs could explode this year. Hopefully he could kind of make up for that rookie slump. I would give this a B-.
I'll go with a solid B, just a hair better. I think your first four there, and Herbert, Jones, Harris, and Evans, the top of that lineup is real solid. I love Najee Harris. I think Mike Evans is foolproof, 1,000-yard, at least 8 touchdown guy every year. Julio, I've been going like hot and cold back and forth with on him. In a 10-team league, I actually like him because you can get more depth at the wide receiver, but in a 12-team league, it's tough. He just like only plays half the season, and I mean, you got to tell Cortland Sutton to keep his legs warm because he's about to go in your lineup soon.
Yeah, I'm also banking on Ruggs to kind of have a good year.
Something I actually do like, Ken, that I didn't even really think about before is that you own the Arizona backfield. I didn't even like kind of put that together. I like that because no matter who's going to be there, whether it's Edmonds catching the passes or Connor at the goal line, if you ever need to stack them one week, I think with their high-scoring offense, they'll get enough to produce a little bit for you there if you have to do that. So I actually do like that. Maybe I'm a little closer, but I'll stick with what I was.
I think the other like silver lining in Julio though, like going to this offense, is that like Corey Davis had a solid year with them, and like you know Julio's and Julio's significantly better than Corey Davis, so it just shows there is fantasy points in a second option there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll go next. I'm gonna go B as well. I was thinking B+, but I think I'm gonna go with a B just because there's not a ton of questions, but there's some. I mean, there's questions with every fantasy team, but like Herbert is a great pick, but like you never know with a quarterback in their second year. Jones is great. Harris like seems like a stud, but again, you never know with the running back in their first year. I like what you do with the receiver position, but Evans, like there's 3 mouths to feed there. Julio, I wanted. I was actually thinking of taking him, and I was gonna take him, and then you did before I could. Goddard again looks like a solid pick, but you never know what's going to happen with Ertz. And then like Mike and Pat said, I like what you did with getting both Arizona running backs, and you have a lot of like high upside receivers, which I like with Rager. Sutton was great before he got hurt 2 seasons ago, and then he looked good week 1 before he got hurt. Ruggs could be an upside guy, so that's why I'll give you a B instead of a B+. I think it's a great lineup. It's not as many what ifs as Kieran team, in my opinion, which is why I gave you a slightly higher grade, but I think you have a solid team all around.
One quick thing, I don't know that Rager's necessarily an upside receiver. Like, I know this goes back to our complete argument. Like, for me, upside, if he performs to his best, I feel like he's like a wide receiver 3. Like, that's my, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think
you have to base off when they're drafted. If Rager scores like 5 or 6 touchdowns, 850 yards, he's way higher than where Ken drafted him.
No, I think Nelly's got more upside than him, though. I mean, if you got to think about if Mac Jones ends up winning this job, which he probably will a couple weeks in, like that offense is going to be way more pass heavy, and it's just him and Jacoby Myers. That's it, really.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's just move on.
Let's move on. I see Pat's team right here.
Another Rager bet, and
we'll move on to Pat because I see his team right here.
Well, Kieran didn't give his grade yet.
Oh, Kieran, what was your grade for him?
All right, D, move on.
Kieran, you gave a D?
I actually really do like your team.
Oh, thanks, man.
I like going for the risky things. In fantasy,
you got to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah. I respected it, Ken, because like I was eyeing up Harris.
So.
All right, Pat, yours. I'm going to pull up just the team right here. You know your draft. Talk about it real quick before it loads.
So I went real NFC East heavy in the beginning there, and it was a good thing CD Lamb didn't fall to me. He went 1 pick before Woods because I would have went with him too, and it would have been real awkward because I was eyeing up Devonta Smith later, and my entire team would have been NFC East. But I went with Zeke. I was happy that he fell. He was who I hoped end up going there. I was saying to Mike earlier that my team's success is kind of predicated on Dak staying healthy, because if he stays healthy, then that's him and Zeke's boost. I did hedge my bet a little bit with Trey Lance because I love Trey Lance, and I think if Dak does get hurt, he's going to end up having start and roll and being a boom player on my team. And then just upside guys in Gibson and McLaurin. I kind of bought into Fitzpatrick leading their offense and being a little bit more dynamic. I went after Pitts early because I love Pitts. I think he has like Waller potential, especially with Julio gone there. Laviska Shenault I love, especially with ETN out. I think he gets a lot more action from there. That's just more targets to go around. And then got my handcuff in Tony Pollard. I was eyeing him up. And then I went with Corey Davis and Elijah Moore, hoping that one of them would emerge as the wide receiver one over there. And then I'll probably just end up dropping the other one or trade packaging them away. And then Irv Smith. That's my guy right there. They just don't. I mean, I just think Thielen takes a step back. Irv Smith takes a step up, and he'll be a serviceable backup and even flex player.
Chris, do you want to go real quick and give analysis, or
Yeah,
Ken or Kieran? I mean,
I'll go. I don't want you to be offended, Pat, because I need to preface this. Like, I'm gonna say the rating, and I'll say why. It's just like a personal preference, philosophy kind of thing for a fantasy team. I'm gonna give you a C+, not because I don't like your team. It's just, for me, I don't like having guys on the same team because I feel like they eat into each other. So just since you have so many people on the same team, even though they're players I like a lot, that's why I'm going to give you a C+. That's the sole reason. Like, I like Dak, I like Zeke, I like Gibson, I like McLaurin, but I mean, they're going to eat into each other's production. I love Woods. That was a great pick. You both know we didn't have a show on it, but I love Kyle Pitts. I was so disappointed when the Eagles traded down just because I wanted him so badly. It worked out in the end, but I wanted him. Chenault's a great pick. I love him. Michelle's interesting. We'll get into my team later. Michelle makes me a little nervous because of the Henderson. Davis was a guy I looked at. So, like, I like your team overall. I like that you got the handcuff too. The only reason I give you a C+ instead of like a B is just because of the same team factor.
I feel it. That used to be my philosophy for a while, and then I realized like there's only one football in every game.
Yeah.
And
I want to go next.
Really pan out.
I want to go next if I can, because I kind of disagree with Chris.
Okay.
Not to be contrarian on purpose, but I actually really like your team. I think I'm closer to like A-. What's that?
I didn't say I didn't like it.
No. But like compared to what you said, I'm closer to A- territory. Like that's where I think I'm kind of going here. You took a lot of picks that I was kind of eyeing up. I get it. If Prescott can stay healthy this year, that duo with Zeke, like I don't mind that duo at all, because I think they're both good. Like this offense, they're going to be high scoring, and like there's going to be room for them to both eat in that offense. Like as much as I don't want it to happen, Gibson's going to catch a ton of passes out of the backfield. That's his RB2. McLaurin's going to catch a million passes. Woods could literally be a top 5 receiver this year, I think, with Stafford at quarterback, and he's the RB2. Pitts could explode this year. I think you're going to end up putting Davis in the flex because he's going to get targeted a million times. I like Sermon's upside. Trey Lance could literally win that starting job and become like Lamar Jackson light. Tony Pollard, you got the insurance there. Elijah Moore is a young guy on the like. I think I really like this team. Actually, I'm definitely going like A- territory. Like I just there's a ton of upside, but there's also a lot of safety as well. I think you did a good job.
My strategies always go with a lot of boom guys, like boom possibility guys, boom or bust on my bench, because you're going to end up needing to drop some of them anyway when guys get hurt and you need bye weeks. And so I figure let's just hope half of them hit and drop the other half and play the waivers.
Yeah. Kieran, Ken, what are you guys' thoughts?
The good thing is, even like you have Dak and if Dak's healthy playing, like I think Trey Lance could take off and you might even you might put Trey in over Dak. So
yeah, I mean, I would trade one if they both boom.
Yeah.
Trade one to Valeni like week 3. I did it with Cam last year.
Well, that's why I actually took a quarterback this year. We'll get to that.
I think Pitts is solid too,
I
and I
Trevor
think
Lawrence,
I agree with Mike. Corey Davis on the bench is a good option to have too.
Yeah, he's going to get peppered with targets, I feel like. So I like it. I think he did a pretty good job. And you guys have a grade for Pat, so we can kind of maybe get a consensus here?
I feel like a B.
I was going to say B+. I'm not as high on him as Mike. Well, Chris, first off, you had 5 minutes of apologies before you gave a grade, and then gave me a lower grade like the team is shit. So
I didn't give you. I gave you a low grade.
But you're like, I don't want to.
Because it's different. It's different with Pat's team because I like a lot of the players more. It's the construct of the team that worries me.
I love everything about Pat's team. This is why I'm giving you B+. I love everything about your team except for your receivers. I don't know. I have this weird feeling that Terry McLaurin is going to have a step down this season.
I think he's going to be a monster.
There's absolutely no basis to it. Because I've been high on Terry McLaurin. I'm an Ohio State guy. I know, piece of shit, but it's fine. I've been an Ohio State guy. I've been a fan of Terry McLaurin since like high school. I just feel like in this offense, Ryan Fitzpatrick spreads the ball to weird guys, and Terry McLaurin's going to have 4 amazing weeks, and then he's going to have weeks where you're like, this is a matchup he should kill, and he doesn't. I do like Corey Davis though. I think you're going to turn him sooner rather than later.
I was upset when that was sniped away.
In like that flyer position almost in Urban Meyer's offense. We'll see how that works out, but I like it.
Nice work. All right. We'll transfer. We got 2 more teams left. Chris, you are on the board here. Walk us through what you have with your team, and then we will discuss.
Sure. So I had first overall picks on McCaffrey. I knew that when he came back to me, I was going to go running back because it gets so thin later on. I wanted Edwards-Helaire, but your brother took him. So at that point, it was like Montgomery, Sanders, those type of guys. I'm trying to think of the other one that was in there. Dobbins. I went James Robinson because he was my guy last year. I picked him up, and he really has no competition now. He should have more opportunity with Trevor Lawrence in there, more running lanes because they actually have to respect the throw more. So I really the pass more. So that's why I really liked him. And then I went Carson. What?
Defensive line in football.
Whatever. He looked good in it last year. He's the running back 7. Now he actually has a quarterback. And then I went Carson, who I didn't understand why he was ranked so low. I reached on him. I get the injury thing, but I think that the Seahawks offense this year could be like one of the top offenses in the league. I know they're usually pretty good, but I think they take a step forward this year. Plus with that big contract, I think they're going to give him the ball even more. Plus he's a great pass catcher. We got to the next round. I knew I needed a receiver, so I went Deontay Johnson just because, he kind of worries me just because of the drops, but he had a ridiculous amount of targets last year. And I think he can take a step up into elite level with those targets if he cuts down the drops. I was going to go with Julio, who Ken took later, or Moore, but I decided to go with Josh Allen because I wanted stability at quarterback. And then after that, I just went receiver heavy, just picking a bunch of guys who I can fill in, who have some upside. I'm pretty happy with my team. The one thing is I took Henderson when I didn't want to take another running back. I think I took him in round like 6 or 7, but just with him there with the upside he has, I felt like I needed to take him at that point, just in case any of my running backs get hurt or anything like that. Also, he's a good trade chip. Or if he steps it up, I can trade one of the other running backs. My only thing I regret is that Parmet took Chuba Hubbard way earlier than I expected him to. So that kind of scares me, which is why I was glad I took Henderson as well.
No insurance. Let's kick it to Kieran and Ken. Since you're with Chris, what are your thoughts here?
Weird team.
You want to go first?
We're going together.
Oh, we're going together. Okay.
What do you want us to give? Do you want to go first?
I like Allen and McCaffrey are off the top are good. You have, 2 of like top 3 guys right there, I think, in like terms of running back and quarterback.
Sure.
I had Deontay Johnson last year, so I know that's a good pick. Gallup might be tough because if CD has a breakout year, he might get a little less. See, I'm worried about Chris Carson because I had Chris Carson before years ago, and he got injured and had Penny. Was it Barber or
Penny?
Rashard Penny back with him, and so I'm. How old is he now? He's got to be
28.
28 for running back.
I couldn't play running back in the NFL. I'm 28.
So that would be my one concern. I go like B-.
Confirm Chris Carson bust.
Yeah. I will say
if Kieran can't do it, he's a bust.
I'm 28 and I can't be a running back in the NFL with my knees. So that's my reasoning, and I stand by it. No, I'm gonna say honestly, I think it was about Ken's team that Pat said, but like the top 4 of your lineup, I love. But on the opposite end, I really don't love your receivers. And I know he went heavy at the end, and one of them kind of has to pop, I feel like. But Cole Hardman, it's like every year I feel like is his rookie year, and people are like, yeah, this guy's gonna be really good, and then he just isn't.
I just don't know if there's enough room to break out in that offense. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
There's other guys, Demarcus Robinson.
Watkins looked good when he was healthy.
Embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, but I agree with Mike. There is like yes, they're gonna throw the ball 50 times a game. That's why I got Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
and that everyone's gonna get fed in the offense, but there's gonna be weeks where he's completely silent.
Right.
I do love Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, James Robinson, Deontay Johnson. I think is a great top end. Chris Carson, he could be a huge value. Like it's a great third back to have. And Darrell Henderson, I agree with you there for trade value. Or if one of them does go down, because that is the concern with Chris Carson. So I'll give you a B+. I think it's a good draft.
All right, Pat, how about you?
Like the stud of my bench.
I mean, it's exactly the type of team that you would end up with if you had the first overall pick and you went quarterback early. Like, it's exactly what you get. You went running back heavy. So I think obviously you're solid there. Wide receiver scares me. I would not feel comfortable in a PPR going into it like this, because Deontay Johnson, I know he had a good year last year, but there's a lot of mouths to feed there still, especially with Najee Harris coming in, and you have Claypool and Juju. He might end up as their number 1 receiver, but he could also end up as their number 3 receiver. And Michael Gallup will end up as their number 3 receiver. So to not have a 1 or 2 on your roster is tough in a PPR. But I think the upside of McCaffrey, just the number 1 pick, always has the advantage with McCaffrey still in his prime, and Josh Allen will have a great season. So I think he ends up a solid first round playoff exit, B+.
No, I think I kind of echo the same. Like, your top 2 are literally unshakable. That's about as good of a quarterback running back duo as you're going to find this whole league. From then, like, I look at Henderson and Robinson, and those were guys who were playing second fiddle 3-4 weeks ago, back when the injuries didn't happen. So, like, I'm not saying they're not talented, but you're relying on them to then step up into a spot now where it's like, all right, they weren't the guys before. Like, ETN and Akers were going to not own, but I think they were the better options in that backfield. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but I'm saying that you're now saying, okay, these guys are hurt. Let's hope they can step in and do it. And they can. I know you had Robinson last year and he did awesome. I'm not saying he can't, but I think, he's got. What's that?
He was running back 7 last year.
I know, but I'm just again, and I'm saying, but again,
Chris, what was Christian McCaffrey last year?
Well, he was hurt.
Yeah, running back like 46, so it doesn't really matter what was last year.
I hate you.
the receiver.
Very valid point, though, and I honestly think that's why I like Pat's pick of Chenault.
I love Chenault.
I think Chenault's going to get used a lot in a position, especially now with ATN hurt, that he's going to get the ball out of the backfield even more than you might expect.
Let's move on to the next team.
The receivers worry me just a little bit, but you have good running back depth, which is like having gold. Again, like I said, even if
my receivers are
Harris
definitely
Campbell's going to start for you.
Yeah, so I
think
Marquez Callaway too.
I've been a Carson owner.
Yeah.
He's fucked me in the past.
He always gets hurt, but Callaway with Jameis as the starter and Michael Thomas, if Michael Thomas ends up staying out for 6, 7, 8 weeks, like he'll have a lot of value where he was drafted, I think.
And even if he doesn't, Traquan Smith has never turned into anything, so he might still be number 2 running back. And your thing with Carson, he's my 3rd running back, but yeah, if he gets hurt, it won't be totally.
That's a great flex running back. What are the grades for Chris, real quick? What do we think?
I said B+.
I said B.
I like B. I'm okay with that. All right. We'll move on to me. Final team here. We're running out of time. We have 10 minutes left, so we'll be able to sneak this in. I had the 3rd pick. I went Kamara. I doubled that up with Mixon. I think Mixon's going to have a great year behind a slightly improved line, a more healthy offense, I think. And there's some weapons, but I think there's obviously room to run there. I got Cooper, Moore, and Beckham as my receiver trio with Galladay on the bench. The fact that I got Galladay as my 4th receiver is stupid to me, but I'm okay with that. I didn't even want him originally. Tannehill, I think, was a great value in the late rounds. He's out right now, but he'll be back for the start of the season. He can run. He's got crazy weapons to throw to in Brown and Jones, and he also got the steady running game as well. I got Waller, one of the best tight ends in the league. I don't even talk about that. The kicker and defense, but I like Zerline for the high-powered offense. Gordon might lose his job, but either way, I like that. Waddle's got upside. Jones has got a connection with what's his name? Trevor Lawrence. Stafford is a backup quarterback. That could be a trade chip if he goes off later in the year. Mooney has upside, and I like Penny as the backup. So I was very happy with my draft, but I'll kick it off to anybody else kind of analyze it.
I hate that I'm about to say this, but honestly, I think I'd give you an A minus. Tannehill's underrated. Kamara's Kamara. Mixon, I was hoping would fall to me. He didn't. He's going to be better this year with Burrow back full time. And I mean, I had him last year. He was great until he got hurt. And then the only reason people like hated him last year, me included, since I had him, was because they just didn't roll him out. It was like he was week to week for 6 weeks, and then he was out for the season. So people just hold that against him. Cooper Moore were two guys that I was looking at as well. So you got them later than they should have went. Waller, you have second best tight end. Beckham was another guy I wanted. You stole from me. Greg the Leg, high powered offense. I actually passed on him, but I was thinking of taking him just because I was doing some research about how he hasn't been hitting the deep kicks as well anymore. But I mean, he's still a great kicker to have. And then Calday's good on the bench. Only concern for me would be the running back position. If one of those two guys get hurt, your top guys, you could have some issues. But other than that, that's why I think I'd give you an A minus.
Yeah, I think Mike, you probably have one of the most well-rounded teams in the league. I like the this is the team you get when you wait on quarterback. You know, you get solid medium play, in the middle there with your running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, and being able to go Tannehill and Stafford. Like, I like that you got another serviceable quarterback and you're on the bench because you can just play matchups, because it won't be Tannehill every week. You know, if he's playing,
right,
the Bucs defense or something like that. I love your running backs. I think Mixon was a great value, and I like that you have a number one wide receiver too. I'm not as big on DJ Moore. I think Robbie Anderson actually is almost going to be their number one receiver, if not their number one receiver. But he's fine for fantasy too, and obviously Waller's a beast. So.
I think my hope is that with Darnold, like maybe it shifts over to DJ. Like I don't know. Like last year, I had a completely different thing. But that's
I think it might go to. I like more, but I think it might go to Anderson because of that connection there.
They have the connection from the
That's true.
And that's why I think he might have that chance of being the number one on that team. And who knows how good that team is, but.
Either way, I think Darnold elevates both of them because Darnold I think is underrated.
I don't think he's. I think he's going to have a much better season than people expect.
Yeah.
Especially, and it hurts. It hurts his. I don't want to say stock, but the way he looks in the league with Teddy Bridgewater winning the job, right? Because that's like his third team just took a job, and now Sam Darnold's just kind of coming in behind him now. It feels like Bridgewater.
Yeah. I don't hate Sam Darnold, but
Drew Lock. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm saying Teddy Bridgewater won the job.
Yeah.
So it makes Sam Darnold look like, not as good, but I think Sam Darnold's gonna have a very good year.
Yeah.
I definitely think he will not have a very good year, and I just have to throw that on the record because we throw those words around. I think he will have a below average year. I just want to throw that on the record.
If we're saying below average as a not top
bottom 15 quarterback. Yeah.
Well, the not top 16 fantasy quarterback, yes. I'm saying I think he'll have a much better year than people are expecting.
I agree with that.
All right, I'll be the outlier. I think he's going to have at least maybe the year that people are expecting or a little worse because people aren't. I mean, they're expecting him to be like the 18th quarterback or something.
I was going to say, I think he'll be top 18. You don't think he'll be top 18?
20?
No, I do not.
This will also be the best supporting cast he's ever had.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to find out a lot about him this year because it's going to be the best supporting cast he's ever had. So if he really does have potential, you'll find out this year.
Exactly, and that's
we're about to have him put it on the board.
Well, no, here's the deal. Like I think on an overall season, if you're going by points, Sam Darnold has a chance at that because he's going to start all year. Where a lot of the quarterbacks that are better than him will not start all year, like Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Like there's a bunch of quarterbacks, Mac Jones, who I think are better than Sam Darnold, but they just won't get the fantasy points because they're going to miss 4 games.
Should we put some stats on it?
I mean, you want to do like QBR, the top 18 QBR?
Not QBR. Let's go with like touchdowns and yards.
Do we? Are we making a bet here to put on the board?
I think that's what's going to help a lot.
Let's mull it over to make sure we get.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next
That
week.
makes sense.
We'll mull it over.
Anyway, I got A- for Mike's team.
Thank you.
My team, I'm going to give Mike. I'm going to give you. Yeah, D. Honestly, D. No, an A. I don't like your bench at all. To be honest, I don't. I like Kenny Galladay, and I like. Sorry, there was one other one.
You like Jalen Waddle? I love Jalen Waddle. I don't know. I just think like.
I think he could be that great. There's always.
I also like Mooney. I don't know. Yeah.
No, I'm with you in rounds 8 through 12, 13. That's where you get that one guy who's like the breakout rookie receiver.
I'm just taking shots in the dark. Yeah,
I think Waddle could be that guy, and Tua could have his year this year. But I love your starters. I actually do really like DJ Moore. I definitely mold getting DJ Moore over Robbie Anderson. Amari Cooper, great pickup. Having Kamara and Mixon as your 1-2 backfield, and to be able to pick a quarterback late and end up with Tannehill and Stafford, I think he ended up.
Which, by the way, my brother literally left my home without talking to me because I took Stafford and he didn't have a quarterback. He was so upset about that.
Yeah, I think you have like a A- here. I like Marvin Jones Jr. as a veteran wide receiver with Lawrence.
Yeah,
good. And I think Stafford is going to be a MVP candidate maybe on offense if Sean McVay can get what he can get out of him.
If it goes right. Yeah, he's been with Detroit for the longest time. Who knows? You throw him in that offense, and he's got weapons. And
with that offense, he could be throwing up numbers. Yeah,
I've had Stafford several years in fantasy, and the thing that's frustrating about him is that he checks into runs on the goal lines like all the time. Every time they're set up for a pass, and he checks into a run. And that was one of the reasons I went with Sony Michel because I'm tired of watching this for 3 years.
But he's never had Sean McVay.
Yeah, but he checks into them himself. It's not the play call.
Yeah. When you have Calvin Johnson with the goal line and you check into a run, it's like a.
But before that, Mike cuts off. Sean McVay's gonna be like, "Don't you dare check into a freaking run!" Like that's what he's saying.
Sean McVay is bulking up. He's like he's ready to be a goal line back himself.
He's going to check down himself, yeah.
So we got less than a minute. Mike,
Okay.
I think you should put up a poll of who is the best team. Put our 5 names.
And then,
you can only do 4.
One of us.
Kieran, make us a.
No one's picking
my team
tandem.
anyway.
But I mean, before before it goes off, I mean, all I guess we can say is stay hot, right?
Stay hot, everybody. Be well.
Yeah.